governors. I'm here on the Idiot Box because for the second time in a fortnight, the NFL is making its home in the old smoke. Should be quite the kerfuffle today betwixt the Saints and the Dolphins at Wembley, it should. I know I'm in good form about it. Drew Brees is a straight corker, mate.
Play action, what a throw.
Ease up that one. Jay Cutler, meanwhile, is no numpty himself.
He got him. Touchdown, Miami.
I'm chuffed to bits about these two going head-to-head. Spawny day it is. Week 4's no time for either of these clubs to wag off, and you can bet they'll be knackered after leaving everything on the pitch. Sure, my understanding of the British language is damp squib, but Bob's your uncle. Enjoy the match, blokes.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks.
I like that ending there. It's AP in the UK. And all across the USA, it's time for a little football for breakfast. Live from London, Adrian Peterson and the Saints meet Miami, a team led by a guy who 2 months ago was scheduled to be in the broadcast booth for this one. But now Jay Cutler's talking about the Dolphins trying to get their second win in 3 tries. The NFL continues its London series with the second consecutive game in the United Kingdom. And the kickoff from Wembley starts off an early double dip of the NFL on Fox. In fact, later today, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, they clash with the revitalized Rams, while Tom Brady and the Patriots collide with Cam and Carolina, and Matthew Stafford's Lions will match up with Minnesota. We'll be with you every step of the way right here on the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, brought to you by the official truck of the NFL. Come on in and stay a while, folks. I'm Kurt Menefee. Thanks for spending your early Sunday morning with us. And thanks to Will Forte for this morning's open. He stars in Season 4 of The Last Man on Earth, which premieres tonight at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, only on Fox. Now, Howie and Michael, I'm sure they're sleeping in their beds all tight.
Exactly what
Jimmy and Terry, they get up every morning 3 o'clock, so this is no big deal. But here, Chris Carter, the Hall of Famer, you can catch him on First Things First on FS1. What time's that on?
6:30 a.m.
Eastern time.
Eastern time.
3:30 in the morning out here. So this is sleeping in for you.
Oh, yeah, this is easy.
You're going to be able to roll through this, no problem?
No problem. Let's do it.
I guarantee you, Howie's up right now saying, you know.
Stop it. Howie's my guy. Leave Howie alone.
Trying to start something is too early for that. Hey, all right, let's not trivialize what so many residents of Florida have gone through over the last 21 days. But it's been a unique 3 weeks to start the season for the Miami Dolphins. You may remember that back in week 1, their home game against the Bucs was postponed because of Hurricane Irma. Well, then the team endured a grueling travel schedule from that point on. In fact, in week 2, the Dolphins flew cross-country to play the LA Chargers, and then after flying from LA back to Miami for a few days, went to Jersey to take on the Jets. Then it was back to Miami with just enough time to pack the bags and head off to London for today's game with the Saints. As soon as it's done, back to South Florida to get ready for their first home game of the season next Sunday against the Titans. All in all, when this is said and done, the Dolphins will have traveled across 8 time zones, over 15,000 miles, and logged about 35 hours in the air. And as we head over to London, England ourselves, the guys calling the game, Kevin Burkhart's probably going, that's like my schedule during baseball playoffs will start next week. Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis. Fellas, how you doing?
Well, guys, I applaud you for getting up early on the West Coast. That's for sure. And, yeah, we're doing great here in London. It's been a fun week and should be a fun afternoon. And you talk about the Dolphins' travels. It has been, yeah, it's been quite the scene for them. It's been different. Winds will alleviate that. But, Charles, even with that, both teams handling this week in London very differently, too.
They certainly did, because you would expect the Dolphins, maybe they would want to come out early and get acclimated with everything that they've had going on. They stayed at home in Miami, got here on Friday. The Saints, they left after their game against Carolina last Sunday and came right here to London. So they've been here all week. Both of them going about it differently, maybe because the Saints have an open week next week while the Dolphins will play Tennessee.
Yeah, it kind of depends on which sleep expert you talk to, I guess, right? So you get a little bit different answer there. Meanwhile, for this game, well, look, Saints 1 win, right? Dolphins 1 when they play 1 less games. What are we expecting here?
Well, what I'm expecting out of the Dolphins, because they played so poorly last week against the Jets, I expect their head coach Adam Gase to be very aggressive in his play calling early. Wants to get every everybody included, all of his playmakers touching the ball and take some shots downfield. He didn't really do that against the Jets. When you flip it over to the Saints, the first 15 plays Sean Payton calls, you'll see a lot of personnel groupings, different guys running in and out. They will try and confuse you, and they want to take those dagger shots as well. So I think both coaches will be aggressive.
Tell you one thing, Charles, the Saints are happy that it's October because in September, since 2014, they're 2-11. In October, though, 9-3. It's October the 1st, Kurt, so we'll see if it works for the Saints today. Back to you guys.
Time zones and everything, they can still figure out the calendar. Have a good call, guys. We'll see you a little bit later. And Jimmy, I want to talk about really the coach's approaches here. You know, they mentioned the Saints have been out there since Monday, early Monday morning, while Miami decided to wait until later in the week, staying more in their routine, if you will.
Yeah, myself, now, I would treat it just like any other road game. Other than the league, requirements for appearances, I would have no sightseeing trip, no free time, any other road game. Players probably hated me, on the road because, here's what I would do. We would get off the plane, we'd go to the hotel, we would not leave the hotel, we'd have our meal, we'd have meetings, we'd have curfew, we'd have a pregame meal, we'd have meetings, we'd play the game, we'd get a victory, we'd go home.
I talked to a few players, and they didn't like you home or away. That's a good little excuse to use there.
Hey, Howie, that's pretty good. You got to admit, that's funny.
The thing you have to look about is promotion of the game. Stateside here in the United States, we got less kids playing football. So abroad, let's promote the game. And football is not the international game. Real football, soccer is. So the ability to be able to promote the game for young people, we need young people playing the game, and more eyeballs on the game is good for the NFL.
Yeah, we're not moving over there. No franchise is going to London. We know that. And just quickly summing it up, I would like to have done it one time only, just to see it. Because you wanted to go sightseeing. Yeah, exactly. One time, and nothing wrong with that. Then I get focused. You wouldn't even have done interviews. I know you too well. That's better than that. And then we just look at athletes in general. We're all superstitious. And if it's Sean Payton, you go back to 2008. He went over right after the game, stayed all week. And then they won. They beat the Chargers. Breeze threw 3 touchdown passes. And he's thinking, hey, the last time I was here, we had a good day. So that's why they go back over.
And they stayed in that routine. We will talk about that game, breaking down both the Saints and the Dolphins. You are?
I am.
I can tell. The smoke's coming out your ears. I can tell it right now. We got more to come.
I love you.
Coming up on the special edition of the Ford Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. From Carolina to London, we'll check in on the Saints' whirlwind week. Then, London native Jay Ajayi gives us an insider's perspective on playing in his hometown. Plus, Riggle's got Anglophilia and has no clue what that means. We'll explain. Stick around. It's time for the Built Ford Tough Offensive Line of the Week. This week's winner, the O-line of the Tennessee Titans. Go to NFL.com/Ford to learn more and register for a chance to win a trip to the Super Bowl and a new Ford F-150 with a custom NFL design. The Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show is sponsored by the 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Being on Peyton's fantasy team is interesting.
Come on, Eli. I need you to get 73 more yards so I can hit my scoring bonus.
For one thing, he sends me a lot of Terminators gear that he insists that I wear. Also, my brother's never called me this much.
All right, E, listen up. This kid, Dennis, has the defense you're playing this week. So I'm going to need your best effort. Much better than you did last year on my birthday present. A mixed tape? I don't have a tape player. Who has a tape player anymore? I've got a wall of TVs tuned into DirecTV's NFL Sunday Ticket. So I'm going to be watching. Would it kill you to run one in? Don't listen to me because I'm your brother. Listen to me because I'm the commish, darn it. Hashtag the commish.
I put up with it all because he's family. Also, he's retired, so I know he'll just keep calling me anyway.
That's true. I have very little to do.
Fantasy football, serious business. The greats rely on DirecTV's NFL Sunday Ticket.
Hey, bro, why aren't you wearing the hat? Yes, that's the spirit. Go Terminators.
You know what? No matter what, Eli looks like the little brother in that relationship, doesn't he?
Eli.
Yeah. Those two guys grew up, of
I wonder if they got paid the same.
Yep.
You keep waiting for that.
Cooper's the funniest brother.
They both grew up there in New Orleans, big Saints fans, watching their dad play quarterback for the team. And now with the help of social media, we all can get a behind-the-scenes look at what the Saints did this week in London. It's been a busy week for the New Orleans Saints, starting last Sunday when they pulled off the upset in Carolina for their first win of the season.
The Saints head to London.
After the big win Sunday, they flew directly across the pond to start their week in London. The first stop?
The stadium, here we go. Let's go Arsenal. There's the player tunnel right there. What's good, Who Dat Nation?
Next, the team checked out Big Ben, which, contrary to popular belief, has nothing to do with the Pittsburgh quarterback. Then to another famous landmark.
The London Eye, baby.
While also taking some time for authentic British cuisine.
You gotta come to UK, you gotta get the fish and chips.
By midweek, it was business as usual with practice and recovery.
What y'all facilities looking like? Y'all ain't living like this, baby.
But there's always time for a steak dinner.
All that.
It was a week of new experiences, all culminating in a fan rally yesterday on Regent Street. Well, TB, you can have fun like that when you're coming off a big win, which is what the Saints got last week down there against Carolina. That defense actually played well, giving up just 13 points.
And they're going to get Marcus Lattimore back, the guy they picked to the 11th, actually, in the first round. This guy can play really good corner, and they need him. But the real key for this game is the Saints are going to do what they do, and that's throw the football all over the place. They want to get to 2-2, go home, where 3 of the next 4 games are at the Superdome, and that's important. And what's even more shocking, Chris and Jimmy, is the fact that after 3 games, they haven't turned the ball over. The Saints, believe it or not, as much as they throw, what?
I buy your Breeze deal, all right?
Okay.
I don't buy the defense.
Hey,
Stopping Carolina,
don't give in to him.
keeping Carolina to 13 points. Really, that's nothing. Carolina is struggling offensively. You know, that defense is still bad. You know, they still don't stop anybody on 3rd down. No.
Only one worse than that defense coach is New England.
New England will correct theirs.
Yes.
I don't think New Orleans corrects theirs.
All right, so have they corrected their running game? Because that's always the problem with them. You talk about working on this defense. They've been looking for a run game since the Super Bowl years, and they got AP this year.
They have, but the team is not constructed to run the ball, Kurt. The offensive line, they're more used to pass sets. They're not used to knocking people off. But Mark Ingram had a Pro Bowl year last year. Adrian Peterson didn't have any other suitors, so he decided to go to New Orleans because that was the only offer he had. Then the week to get to the draft, Alvin Kamara from Tennessee, he's available. That is a Sean Payton type running back. So now we have 3 running backs, which means you have a problem. Mark Ingram is a better all-around back than the other 2, and Kamara is the best receiver out of the backfield. Adrian Peterson doesn't have a place to play. He's been a volume ball carrier since he's been 8 years old. He was going to tote the rock 20 to 30 times.
So what do you do with him?
It's time to move him.
Yeah. Some team out there, 7th round pick, go ahead and trade
Green
him.
Bay
Yes.
and the New York Football Giants.
Yes.
Trade deadline?
Yes.
October 31st, last day of the month. We'll find out whether or not he's still there. When we come back, we will hear from Rob Riggle, Jay Ajayi, and the national anthem. But first, why don't we check in at the stadium?
Out here in Wembley, man, embracing this experience, loving every second of it. You can see the stadium behind me. It's going to be a great game versus the Saints.
Sunday morning, mayhem. Oh, my gosh. This is how we warm up.
Watch live, local, and primetime games with NFL Mobile, only on Verizon.
Time now for a McDonald's Screen Pass. Who are you loving? And we start with the Saints and Dolphins game in England, of course. You take a look at it, and you know what? Last week, Michael Strahan said the window had closed for Breeze and Sean Payton in New Orleans. TB, did last week's win over Carolina change that perception?
Mike's been hit too much. Breeze and Payton are together forever as far as I'm concerned. I do know this. No matter what anybody says, Breeze will be playing in this league next year.
I don't think anybody said he wouldn't play in the league. The question is, if he plays
that's where I had to kind of,
Okay, I got you. On the other side of the ball, there's 5-time Pro Bowler Ndamukong Suh. He seems to have matured past those youthful indiscretions, if you will, of his early career. No suspensions or fines for him in the last 2+ seasons. So Chris was signing him for more than $100 million worth it for the Dolphins.
It's hard to be worth $19 million a year. He had 6 sacks his first season, 5 his second season after having 10 his rookie year. There's a dispute here. Is he worth the money? money. It's hard to pay $19 million to a defensive tackle who can't rush the quarterback.
Well, as for Miami head coach Adam Gase, he spent all week trashing his offense, calling it, quote, an embarrassment, a disaster, and garbage. And he says he's tired of watching this offense the past 2 years. Jimmy, have you ever killed your team like that publicly?
A time or two. But, if you're talking to an individual, you talk to him face to face. But talking through the media to the team, it can pick up the intensity, it can pick up the effort, and better practice, better play.
One bright spot for that Dolphins offense has been the emergence of Jay Ajayi, who went from being a healthy scratch at the start of last season to a Pro Bowl running back by the end of it. Today, Ajayi is playing something of a home game, having been born in London and raised there until his family moved to the U.S. when he was 7. So, who better to spend the week hyping the game to the Brits, while also becoming the very first player in the NFL to get a Twitter emoji designed just for him. That looks, I think, a lot like him. But guys, don't get jealous over there. We got you taken care of.
Oh, please. Here. I like mine.
I hate mine.
Oh, really?
It's kind of like life. Why don't we just hop on the J train as Ajayi returns to London?
Growing up in the UK,
Touchdown, Jay Ajayi.
Didn't really know too much about American football, British football over there, soccer. That was all I really knew growing up.
He puts an exclamation point on this football game.
And then coming over to the States, moving to Texas, and the rest was history after that.
This is the Roots. Europe stands for Your Unlock Raw Power. Just chasing your passions and trying to find that power inside of you every day. And just glad to be able to be back here and launch in London.
They give it to Ajayi. He's got a hole. 15, 10, touchdown!
That's the first time probably all of my family's been together in London, so that was kind of special. And then my grandma and my aunt were there as well, so it was just cool to have a whole family reunion behind Europe.
How about that one?
Being featured and being a good player and being from London, being the only skilled player right now as well, has kind of made me the face almost a little bit of NFL UK, so that's been a blessing in itself.
I like this Miami offense. I believe if they start with the running game, go from a 3-receiver sets, Devontae Parker, young receiver drafted out of Louisville, I thought he would emerge more as a star, because the real star is Jarvis Landry, the real close buddy of Odell Beckham. So wide receiving core is strong, but they have to be able to run the ball to be able to give them the balance.
Yeah, Ajayi is going to be the guy, and that's going to help Jay Cutler.
Yes.
Cutler needs play-action passes, but he's got to have a strong running game. And against that New Orleans defense, it's successful today.
Well, I look at this game, and the first thing I say, you over talking about the Saints' defense, how bad they were. This past defense at the Miami is horrible, especially when they go up against great quarterbacks. You don't lose in New York to the Jets and being good defensively, and that's exactly what's happened to them so far. So today, I look at Jay Cutler and say, well, Jay's really, when they say he's struggling, well, yeah, he's struggling because he took $10 million, over $500,000 to go play football, so therefore he took the money and not the passion. You got to have passion. That's why we're here. We're not making any money, but we love being here.
I got passion.
Yeah, I got passion too. So
I'm the only one not making no money this morning. So.
Are you saying you wouldn't leave for $10 million?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't leave for $10 million. No, I wouldn't. Unless that's just exactly what in my heart I wanted to do.
I wouldn't leave for $10 million unless I would leave for $10 million. That's what he's saying.
I would leave for 11, though.
You know what? Miami's played there 3 of the last 4 years, and these games in London have really become an annual tradition for the entire league. They've got no bigger booster right now than our own Rob Riggle.
London balling in the land of James Bond. There's a fresh class commencing across the pond. The Queen has declared, I like that 10 geese. Here's my prognostication of who's gonna win. How about that word choice? I talk English quite good, but this game in London, I'm picking the Saints.
I have a feeling he may not be alone in this one. Let's get your picks. Start with you, Jimmy.
The Miami Dolphins respond to the head coach. Miami Dolphins upset.
Chris?
Chris?
I like the New Orleans Saints. I like the routine of getting over to London, getting your body acclimated to the time change. I like the Saints.
I'd be excited to know if I win today, the Saints will. That's my pick. They will win. They'll get a bye. Then they have 3 of their remaining 4 games at home. That's exciting to the Saints.
All right. Michael and Howie not here, but they sent their picks in. They're both taking the Saints. We will see you and get you ready for the kickoff from London in just a bit. Thank you so much, Chris Carter. You can catch him weekday mornings, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time on FS1. First things first, Chris Carter and Nick Wright. When we come back, we will wrap up the pregame show and get you all set for the Saints and Dolphins from London. Stick around. And that'll do it for the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, brought to you by the official truck of the NFL. We thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the game from Wembley Stadium. The Dolphins and the Saints. Here, Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis, and Pam Oliver.